Hello guys, welcome back. Now today, I'm going to be making my predictions on which NHL team will win the Presidents Trophy next season. Now there are a few stacked teams in the NHL, so when I try to predict this, it really ain't easy. We saw a few teams in the race for last year. I think that there'll be even more teams in the race for this next season. I think it will keep competitive, and the top of the league, I think there'll be quite a few teams battling it out for that first position. And in this video, I'll be detailing 6 teams that I think have the strongest chance for the President's Trophy going into the 2018-2019 season. Now, I'm going to start with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that's for good reason. Last season, they got a point high for them in their franchise with 105. I feel like this next season, we'll see even more points from them, and we'll see even more wins from them. Of course, the big addition in the offseason was John Tavares. Pretty decent player there, and that'll definitely affect them in the standings. I feel like offensively, they were already amazing, but of course, they did lose James Van Riemsdyk, Tyler Bozak, and of course, Roman Polak, so they're going to want to have some substitutes for that, and I feel like John Tavares will be just that. He'll be just what the doctor ordered. He won't score as many goals as JVR, I don't think, but he'll definitely replace both of them, likely Bozak and JVR in his first year, and likely do even more production than both of them combined. And even though their offense was deadly last season, I could even see them improving next season. Of course, Austin Matthews was out for about 20 games last season. You put Austin Matthews out for 82 games, and your team is instantly better. There is some questions about William Nylander there, but I think they will get sorted out in due time before the season starts. And I feel like this Toronto offense will be set and ready to go with a lot of those guys in their prime, ready to score goals in the big moments. For the defense, of course, there's always question marks. Will Jake Gardiner be better in the defensive zone? We'll have to wait and see for that. I think Morgan Rielly will take another big step in becoming Toronto's best all-around defenseman. I think he'll improve in that end. I think Travis Dermott has a great potential, even more potential than he's shown so far. That defense is looking to get even younger with the absence of Roman Polak. Of course, the goaltending with Frederik Andersen is one of the best in the league. In my eyes, Frederik Andersen is hands down a top 5 goalie for what he was able to do behind that pretty mad defense for Toronto last season. I feel like he'll be around the same production, but I feel like his stats will go up, mostly because I think the Toronto Maple Leafs defense will get a little bit more responsible, and they'll be just a little bit more careful in their own end than they were last season, and of course with that, I think Frederik Andersen's stats will naturally just go up a little bit more. But honestly, while it might have seemed like they peaked last season, I would not be surprised if they make massive jumps in their defensive area and just the overall game. I feel like there's improvements that can be made, and while they're already a great team, I think they'll get even better. Of course, the Nashville Predators also definitely have to be in this conversation. Last season, they won the President's Trophy, having 117 points, and this next season are looking to do the same. Their team really hasn't changed too much. They added Dan Hamhuis, so likely have a whole year of Eli Tolvanen. So in that aspect, they will likely improve in that end. But I feel like some things will also go down to where Nashville won't be as much of a juggernaut as they were last season. Namely, I think Pekka Rinne will not be too good right now. I'm predicting by the end of the season, we see Pekka Rinne and Juuse Saros splitting starts, maybe getting 41 games each, something in that category, because I think Pekka Rinne will drop in production, but I also think that Juuse Saros will start to become the full-time starter as he is Nashville's future. I feel like this next season is where we start to see the effect of that. With that offense is as deadly as ever. Of course, guys like Ryan Johansson kind of had down years last season, so I expect those guys to improve. But the Nashville offense is one of the best in the league, and I feel like it will continue to be that way as there's a lot of depth on that team, and it will continue to grow, especially with another full year of Eli Tolvanen. And of course, I've already gushed about that defense countless times. It's the best in the league, hands down. That top 4 is absolutely filthy, and I think Dan Hamhuis will definitely round out that top 6. So I have no worries with Nashville unless some guys get injured or something happens. I still think they'll be a very good team. It's just that the goaltending situation is kind of a question mark. But I feel like it'll come to a point to where Juuse Saros will handle it and deal with it and will be the main guy going forward. Of course, you can't count out the Tampa Bay Lightning. They got 113 points last season, winning the Atlantic Division, and they're still a stacked team. Even with Steve Yzerman stepping down, they're still one of the best teams in the league, and hands down going to be at that competitive level for the President's Trophy. Of course, there was no really changes whatsoever. I mean, Jake Dotson was cut from the team, but honestly, there wasn't that many moves made, which is fine. The Tampa Bay Lightning are an amazing team, and I think they'll continue continue to be that way, avoiding injuries, of course. But that core is just insane. Just in the forwards, it's crazy. Stamkos, Kucherov, Braden Point, Kaloran. You got so many depth guys on that team, and in the defense, it's fantastic as well. And of course, I could gush about Andre Vasilevsky till the earth is dead. I think Tampa Bay is one of the best teams in the league, and while I think that they get kind of underrated in this race right now, I feel like they are going to be super competitive for it. They're going to be at least one of the teams in the top for it and racing for it towards the end. Last season, of course, they had that great first half, kind of trailed back a little bit in the second half, but I feel like consistency is key from them, and we'll see it this next season. What I'm mainly looking for in the consistent market is Andre Vasilevsky. Last season, it was a pretty inconsistent year from him, to say the least. Of course, he maybe got played a little bit too much, but for me, this next season, I'm going to be looking for consistency. If he can drag that whole performance throughout the whole year, we'll likely see Tampa at the top, or at least around the top of the Presidents Trophy race. Next, you got the San Jose Sharks, who are looking to be a lot of people's favorites going into next season. Of course, with the Erik Carlsson trade, they got 100 points last season. They were very underratedly a fantastic team. I feel like this next season, we'll see a lot more from them. I feel like while last season, they really were fantastic, I think there's another big jump coming from them this next season. Of course, with Erik Carlsson, that's going to happen no matter what. Of course, the big thing that happened in the offseason was the Erik Carlsson trade. We knew that they were in the John Tavares race, but they didn't end up getting him. So Erik Carlsson is not a bad consolation prize. In that trade, they did lose Chris Tierney. That was a big centerpiece of their team, but all in all, I think it will be a depth guy for them going out of the team. And of course, you're bringing in Erik Carlsson. So for the now, San Jose looks very, very good and has a great chance to get that President's Trophy, at least in my mind. And of course, you got the Stanley Cup champions, Washington Capitals. They're always going to be in the race for at least that Metropolitan Division championship. If not the President's Trophy, they're going to be in the mix, whether you like it or not. While I do believe that some guys might have a Stanley Cup hangover this next season when it comes to their performance, I think that the team overall will be pretty fine. They've lost a couple of guys. They lost Grubauer, Jay Beagle. While Grubauer was a big part of their team last season, I think Holtby will be good enough to be got that starter job permanently. And next season, I still see Washington being very, very good, if not winning the division, and I still see them being in the race for that President's Trophy. And even though they won the Stanley Cup, I don't think they're back down anytime soon. And again, there is some concerns on if they will be able to recoup after that Stanley Cup win. Will they have that drive to win again? It'll definitely be interesting to see how Washington does perform, but to me, I still see them as a serious contender for the Stanley Cup once again, and of course, a serious contender for that President's Trophy. Now, of course, I will be starting those standings predictions and the standings, each division predictions in the next week. I will be making those videos, but for this video, I'm going to list my top 3 teams, the teams that I predict to finish 1, 2, and 3 in the standings. For my prediction to finish 3rd in the overall standings, I have the Winnipeg Jets. I feel like their offense could be even better next season. Of course, they lost Mark Scheifele for a big chunk of that season, and having him in there will definitely help the team overall. I think Patrick Laine can have even more goals. They might lose a couple of depth guys through trades or through RFAs, but I don't think they have to really deal with that yet. The one big concern for me is Connor Hellebuyck. If he can stay consistent and if he can continue playing well, that'll definitely be the big factor for Winnipeg, but I still think that the offense will be good enough to carry them to a very good spot in the standings. And I'm going to be honest with myself, I definitely have concerns with Connor Hellebuyck going into this season, but that offense is lethal, that defense is lethal, and I think they'll continue into next season. Unless there are some injuries or something crazy happens, Winnipeg Jets will likely be a very, very good team for years to come. For the team that I predict to get 2nd in the entire league, I predict the Toronto Maple Leafs. I expect them to be a very, very good team and to be really, really close to that President's Trophy. It might just be a overtime loss or a win away, but I do expect them to be very much in that race until last week, until last day even. I feel like with the Toronto Maple Leafs, they have that firepower to be one of the best in the league, and I feel like they will convert on it. Not quite number 1, but number 2 is very respectable. Now, for my prediction, who will win the President's Trophy in the 2018-2019 season? Now, I know I'm going to totally jinx whoever I pick, but my pick to win the President's Trophy in the 2018-2019 season is the San Jose Sharks. Now, I already had this locked in. I already did my standings prediction before the Erik Carlsson trade. And you know what that means. I predicted the San Jose Sharks to win the President's Trophy before they had Erik Carlsson. And now that they have Erik Carlsson, it ain't changing. I think they will be a Presidents Trophy winner, and they'll be a serious contender for that Western Conference, if not the Stanley Cup. They didn't lose too much depth in that Erik Carlsson trade, and while Chris Tierney will hurt, they will substitute him with a likely 80-point defenseman in Erik Carlsson, so I think they'll be really fine. I think that offense at the back end will be seriously ridiculous, and that offensive core, I think, could get even better. There are some guys that could bounce back as well, and Martin Jones, while more of a playoff contender, I think he'll kind of reverse that. I think he'll be very, very good in the regular season, as I did predict him to win the Presidents Trophy. I am crazy, but I am going with it. And of course, I thought it was a very risky pick to pick them as the Presidents Trophy winner, but after the Erik Carlsson trade, I already predicted them to win the Presidents Trophy, so I thought I had it locked up. I had the San Jose Sharks as a Presidents Trophy winner. I had them before the Erik Carlsson trade, and you know I have it after it. Erik Carlsson is going to be a huge factor for the San Jose Sharks, and even with him, I think they'll do wonders on the ice, offensively, defensively, and goaltending-wise. So there you have it. Now you know my Presidents Trophy predictions, so I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about my predictions, and who do you think will win the Presidents Trophy? So that is going to be it for today, guys. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe. Again, tell me down below your thoughts on my predictions and your predictions for the Presidents Trophy, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.